Okay, let's start it. So, my question one is, how long have you been doing like graphic design related job?
Professionally?
School counts too.
Okay.
Since you start studying or learn about graphic design.
I didn't formally learn about graphic design until 2000. So, is that true? Yeah. I came to school here, actually. It was this department. Back then it was called Computer Arts, New Media.
Arts.
And I was 25 years old when I started. So I had already gotten a bachelor's degree, and I came here for my second bachelor's.
Okay.
I had done a little bit of graphic design stuff in college, but never formally trained.
Okay. So since 25 till now, like around 2000.
Yeah, so that is... yeah, so I'm 43 now.
Okay. So like right now, like UI design is like being really popular. So what do you think about the differences between like traditional graphic design and the UI design?
For me, the main differences between anything that's by traditional, I assume you mean print.
Yeah, print like poster,
Gotcha.
like newspaper.
The thing about traditional graphic design, print design, is probably the biggest thing is that there's a finishing point, right? When you say something's done and you send it to the printer, that's it.
Yeah,
that's the project is over. Anything you've done is set in stone. And we don't have that on screen. Everything can change constantly, and it does change constantly, particularly in the web. But every aspect of interactive design is malleable. So graphic design is very rigid in its formality traditionally, and it has to be looser when it comes to interactive design. It's almost imperative. One of the big reasons that graphic designers often couldn't adapt to the web in the early 2000s and the late 90s is because they couldn't give up control over the creative, right? Which was very, very difficult to do. So you have to sort of be willing to let there be variables in composition, to let there be variables in structure, to let there be variables in flow of information. And if you're used to having everything exactly as you set it, then it's hard to relinquish that control.
Okay. Could you give me some example about like the good UI design? Like what kind of app you think is like really successful?
Wow. Oh my goodness. I wasn't prepared for examples. One I always go back to is Flipboard. I think that's a lovely, elegant design. I tend to gravitate toward things that are simple but not sterile. So
like easy to use, but not like boring or like
right. Something that has a little bit of delight inherent in the visuals, but not necessarily minimal to the point of being empty.
Not too complicated, but good looking.
Just enough.
No more like too much stuff.
Anything that's there for the sake of decoration is probably not necessary. But if it adds to the experience, terrific.
Okay. So there might be should be a reason to.
Of course, always
make this.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's for me. That's everything in visual design. If I ask someone why something is there and they don't have a reason, even if the reason is to catch the eye, even if the reason is that's there because people need it needs to shock people into
this app or
thing.
Okay. So what are the couple things you think are really important for for me just started into like UI UX design to think about before I doing this?
Okay. I have basically three sort of guiding dicta or three guiding tenets that I observe, and they don't actually come from me. They come from a composer named Stephen Sondheim. But the first is content dictates form. So form follows function, which is like the Bauhaus principle. It's the same thing basically, but like when you say content dictates form, it means that whatever the website or the app or whatever is going to house, whatever the content is, whatever the purpose is, defines how it should be built and structured. So I find a lot of people, for example, come into this department, they're like, I want to make an app. I want to make apps and apps and apps. And some things just don't need to be apps, right?
Yeah.
Some things lend themselves to websites better. Some things lend themselves to kiosks better, or wall screens, or whatever. So never try to shoehorn what you're making into the form you want it to be. It should be the form that it wants to be.
Okay.
The second is God is in the details. So I really believe in designing things wholly and completely, even if there are parts of them that people won't notice or will never see. For me as a designer, it's the only way I can design in a satisfying way is to hit all of those little details. So for me, that's super important.
Yeah.
My favorite example of that is the Statue of Liberty. So
Okay.
if you look at the top of the Statue of Liberty's head, it's designed, right? There's a part in the hair.
Oh, yeah,
and
in
you
the
can
crown.
see- right.
Yeah.
And the sculptor designed that. Bartoldi designed all that. But it was the 1880s, right?
Yeah.
So he never, there was no way he could know that people would be flying over the Statue of Liberty.
Right.
But he still designed the top of her head.
So like this kind of little details.
Right? And the third is... what's the third? I do have three. Those are probably the two most important, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see the question 5. So since they are right now, they are like Uber. I know Uber, they're doing really good on the UI design, and like right now they have a lot of like good design. And what do you think about like after 5 years the design? What kind of UI gonna look like after 5 years?
Oh, I'm really bad at predicting these things, but I would say that we've gone so far into flat design that we're due to swing back a little bit. You know, flat design is in many ways elegant. It is in many ways like beautiful and clean and easy to follow. But I also think it loses some richness that we had with skeuomorphic design, which is what came before. So going back a little bit towards skeuomorphism, for me, would make sense right now. Like we've been living in material design for quite a while. So it's time for a little bit of dimension or something, texture, something.
Texture, okay.